And good evening and welcome to this edition of Train Aficionado Live. Today we're going to be looking at some of my photography that I've done over the last, I think about 10 years or so. Some dating back, I know one of the photos is dating back to 2017. So, quite a few years ago. We're going to be photographing our railroads, past and present. We're going to be focusing on some of the Norfolk Southern Heritage Units. So that's going to be tonight's program, I should say. So definitely sit back and watch. If you're watching the channel for the first time, we have a slideshow presentation. And then what we'll do is we'll answer some questions regarding, the topic of discussion towards the end of the broadcast. And then we'll wrap it up. The broadcast typically is about an hour or less. So thank you so much if you're joining us for the very first time. I'm Jonathan Higgins, and we are excited to be able to do this presentation tonight. So let me show the slide deck. So photographing our railroad's history, past and present. So tonight we're going to focus on heritage units. We have a big announcement. We have a night class coming up for the Cincinnati Railroad Club. Friday, January the 19th, 7 p.m. We will have a class that's in person, and also we have limited seats. We will have virtual access to this presentation as well. So you'll be able to sit in on this event anywhere in the country. So if you've missed a lot of our rail fanning with the scanner classes, we are going to do this live in person and also virtually. So if you have access, of course, to a computer with a camera and a microphone, you can join us for this event. Sign up is limited for the virtual access. So go to trainaficionado.com/events and sign up through the event post. You'll see a sign up link there and make sure that you select virtual. You'll be given different instructions than the in-person audience, so you'll know how to join the event. And once again, that's next month, Friday, January the 19th of 2024 at 7 p.m. If you're going to be joining in person, it's at the Cincinnati Railroad Club inside of our club room, which is located in the Cincinnati Museum Center, otherwise known as the Cincinnati Union Terminal. So, right in downtown Cincinnati. So, we'd love to be able to see you either virtually or in person for this great night school event where we cover Rail Scanning 101 2024. And this will be a new curriculum, a little bit different than the first one that we did last year. So, we hope that you definitely join us. Let's get right into the slides. So this is the Virginian. This is the first heritage unit I was ever able to capture photography-wise. The locomotive number is 1069 Virginian Railways. This is a Norfolk Southern Heritage Unit. And this was taken just west of the Horseshoe Curve in Cassandra, Pennsylvania. This was one of my first ones, and I was super excited to capture this. So I ended up going out to Cassandra to set up to take photos of this unit. One, the lighting was great. There's a curve here, and I did not want to miss it. I probably spent about 4 to 5 hours waiting for it to come. I was tracking it through some Facebook group pages and also on the Heritage Unit app as well. And sure enough, several hours went by, caught a whole bunch of trains, and then the Norfolk Southern Virginian Railways unit made its way around the curve, and I was able to get a bunch of photos. This is one of my favorite photos of it. I snapped so many photos, but I love the lighting and the angle and everything. It just came out awesome. So this was one of my first heritage units, and it's one of my favorites. While I was in North Carolina, I was only about probably about 25 minutes away from the North Carolina Transportation Museum. And I would often visit there. I was a member of the museum, so I was able to go there as often as I wanted. Just go to the ticket office, and they would provide me a member sticker and then a ticket if they were running a train. So the training first responders locomotive was there, and I was able to get some photographs of it. And of course, it was leading their passenger coaches, so they were using it um, to give their little rides around the yard. But really nice museum, highly recommend it. I've caught a lot of great events there and seen some heritage units, and this is one of them. Back over to Pennsylvania again. Now, needing a much needed paint job, touch up that is the Lackawanna. And of course, the Lackawanna was not leading, it was trailing the lead locomotive. And this is in Altoona, Pennsylvania. You can see the Amtrak station right at the top of the screen there. You can see the platform. That's where Amtrak will stop for the Pennsylvanian that travels, through Pennsylvania. And the Lackawanna was rolling through. I was able to get this on my camera. I'm not too sure if I was aware that it was coming, but I ended up seeing anytime that I'm rail fanning a Norfolk Southern rail line and I see something other than black and white, I'm really paying attention to see what it is. And this was the Lackawanna trailing the lead locomotive, and I believe this was a mixed goods locomotive, a mixed goods train, I should say. The Pennsylvania. It took me many, many years to get the Pennsylvania. Reason being, I missed it. Each and every time that I was in the state of Pennsylvania rail fanning the horseshoe curve, a lot of times I would just miss it, or it would be going through in the middle of the night. So I was tracking this in order to be able to get this train all the way up in Virginia, I believe. It was making its way south to the Duke Energy coal plant that's down in Mooresville, North Carolina. So I was, thinking I got to get this train. So after work, I found a location. This was this dead end road that actually had a railroad crossing. And I wasn't too sure if I missed it or not because I couldn't hear any radio traffic. And of course, once the train got onto the S line, I wasn't getting as many updates and reports on its whereabouts. So this is an interesting thing. So basically, it was coming down from Virginia, made its way onto the S line, which basically goes from Salisbury, North Carolina, out to Asheville, North Carolina. So the train was actually leading the locomotive. So once it goes down the S line, then it's going to back down this line that runs to the Duke Energy plant. And then what happens is there's locomotives on the other end. So the Pennsylvania is no longer leading, it's actually carrying up the rear. So they put on this train because they know they need to do this move. Two locomotives on the front and two locomotives on the rear. So you can see here that the ditch lights are off because this is the rear locomotive. I didn't care what direction it was, going. I just wanted to get a photo of the Pennsylvania. So the image that you see in the top left is the locomotive trailing. And then the bottom right, same thing. It was approaching me, making my way around the corner, approaching the crossing. And then I was able to get the Pennsylvania leaving Duke Energy, heading back towards wherever they were picking up some more coal, heading north. And this was, I want to say this was just south of the Linwood Yard in Linwood, North Carolina. So that's the image that's in the top right. Uh, it was a lot of fun being able to get this locomotive finally. I mean, I wanted to so bad get it in Pennsylvania since it's the Pennsylvania uh, Heritage Unit, but unfortunately, It was one of those, it was a challenge to get. Interesting story with this. This was in Crescent. Um, and this locomotive, I was getting reports throughout the day that it was going to be traveling through, and then kind of it was pretty quiet for any updates. So I was traveling back, probably from Cassandra, excuse me, or coming from Altoona, and I stumbled across it parked. This locomotive was parked on a sidetrack, and I was able to get photos of this locomotive. I was like, there it is. I can't believe it, sitting right there. So it was waiting probably for a crew change, and it was right across the street from the Station Inn. If you're familiar uh, with the town, you know that the Station Inn is right there, and you can see the railroad line. So Norfolk Western was able to grab that right in Pennsylvania, which was really neat. Now we're going to take a look at some trains that I caught in Landis, North Carolina. At one point, I was living in Landis, and I was able to capture the Southern Railways, a locomotive. This was the 8099 Southern in Landis, and this is a small little town that's just north of Charlotte, North Carolina. The railroad line goes right through the downtown. It's one of those little small towns, you blink an eye and you missed it. So the Southern was heading southbound through Landis, heading down to, of course, uh, point south, of course, heading towards Charlotte. And you can see that the Southern was leading an intermodal train here. So I was able to get lots of shots. Landis, North Carolina is a great town to rail fan because not only it goes through the downtown, but there's a lot of clear space. So you're able to get some really long range photos, as you can see here. So I was able to get it as it was making its way into the downtown area. And then as it approached closer to me, and then, of course, passing me, as you can see with the larger image there. So Landis became a spot where I would get a lot of photos. I was able to get Amtrak's 40th anniversary locomotive, the 184, making its way north from Charlotte into Landis. So I was able to get this shot. I was pretty excited about that, and occasionally, you would get an Amtrak through here with its regional service that would run basically from Charlotte to New York City. And then there was an overnight train that Amtrak would run, north and southbound through here. Um, but it was rare that I ever saw that one. Back over to the North Carolina Transportation Museum. This was a great opportunity to be able to capture, 611 making its way out of the museum. It actually sat there for probably over a year when COVID was at its peak. This is where the locomotive resided, spent a lot of time in the roundhouse. Of course, when I was able to, I would go to the museum and pay Miss 611 here, Norfolk Western, a visit. I was able to sit in the cab of this locomotive, which was really cool, just being in a historical locomotive like this, and they did a wonderful job restoring it. And I was very surprised when they were going to make the ferry move. Basically, they were going to head out of the North Carolina Transportation Museum and then head up to Pennsylvania, where it would run service for a summer or two up there. And I was very surprised that I didn't see a lot of rail fans at the museum. So I was able to capture these photos of the locomotive running on its own without the Norfolk Southern locomotive leading. Because the 611 doesn't have positive train control, basically a computer inside the locomotive, it's not able to lead on the main line. So I was able to capture these two photos that are at the top of the slide of it running on its own without the Norfolk Southern lead locomotive doing its ferry move up to Pennsylvania. And of course, I was able to capture the locomotive out on the main line And this was just north of the Linwood Yard, the image that's in the bottom right. You can see the rear of the Norfolk Southern locomotive. I was basically more concerned about capturing 611, which I did right there. Um, it was an awesome day. My dad and I uh, got several photos of 611, making its way out of the North Carolina Transportation Museum. And then we waited at Lee, and then we didn't chase it any further north. But, it was certainly a good day. Yet again, my friend, the Virginian, captured this in North Carolina. This is just north of the Linwood Yard in Linwood, North Carolina. It's at a location that's called Lee. I was able to grab this photo of it making its way north. I'm not too sure what type of train this was. Of course, I focused on the locomotive on this shot. And you can see some track there in the shot. It looks really cool. It looks like something that you would use for a model railroad. You would buy your sections of track like that. And it's so funny to be able to see it life size, just sitting there trackside. Some more photos in the Linwood area. The nickel plate. Pretty cool paint scheme here. This locomotive is 8100. This is in Linwood, North Carolina. Caught this in two different locations. The large image that's in the top left was just south of the Linwood Yard. There's a hill that you could stand on and get some really cool photos. So I was able to grab that one. And then north of the Linwood Yard, I went up to Lee again, was able to get it going underneath the signals there. And then, of course, passing me, heading further north. And of course, this was an intermodal train. The great thing about it, I had enough time from going from one spot to another, because they do on all the intermodal trains, they do a crew swap at the Linwood Yard when they're passing it. So I was able to grab photos of this, run up to Lee, and get two more photos of it north of the Linwood Yard. So knowing where those crew swaps are is very handy. That can buy you some time to be able to get to another location and grab some more photos if you can get north of the train. Captured Norfolk Western again, and this time it was in Landis. The lighting wasn't doing me any favors here, so it's not the greatest shot. But I was able to grab this heading through Landis. I was following it on the various Facebook pages and, of course, through the Heritage Unit app. So I ended up heading out, grabbing a couple of photos of it. I think I barely made it to get it. That's why I wasn't able to, kind of pick and choose a good spot to be able to get a photo of it. But, this is on a mixed goods train, as you can see here, and it's the lead-in unit in front of two other Norfolk Southern locomotives there. Virginia Railways paid me a visit when I was in the Carolinas. This time around, it was in Landis, North Carolina. Leading on an intermodal train, as you can see there, beautiful shot of it making its way through Landis. I was able to grab several photos here. Of course, it approaching, another photo approaching, and of course, it passing. It's just a really great little town to be able to get photos like this. And it's got grass on both sides. You're able to get some long range shots, and there's even a gazebo in the downtown that's right next to the tracks, and you can sit in there and wait for the trains to go by. And there's a defect detector right in downtown Landis. The Illinois terminal. I was able to get this just north of Landis. This is in Salisbury, right where the main line branches off to the S line. And of course, the Illinois terminal was not leading. As you can see, it was sandwiched in between some Norfolk Southern locomotives. I'm not too sure what direction this is going in. I took this photo and primarily focused on the Heritage Unit right in the middle there. And of course, it definitely needs maybe possibly a wash or even a refresh of the paint. As you can see, it's a little dirty, but I was able to get a cool photo there. I believe I already showed this photo, so that ended up being in there twice. That's Norfolk Western um, in Crescent, North Carolina. Crescent, Pennsylvania, excuse me. Here's some photos of some trains that I've caught here in Ohio. This is my first heritage unit in Ohio. And this is the interstate locomotive 8105. And this was located just north of the Hamilton area, just in the north of the downtown area. There's a water treatment facility, and I was able to get photos of it because it was sitting waiting on a signal. So this train was just sitting there. I actually waited to get this photo of it moving, and you can see the ventilation on the top. You can see some smoke coming out of it. Not smoke, but coming out of it, you could see, that it was moving. So I ended up getting several photos of it sitting, and then of course I waited until it moved. I've got some really great photos of this, but this was one of my first in Ohio getting a heritage unit here. And then I was able to get again the Virginian, this time around in 2023. First time I got it was in uh, 2017, and I got it in 2023. And look how beautiful it is. They recently repainted it, did an overhaul on it. Looks gorgeous. And I was able to grab photos of this. You can see that it's a fresh paint job. I was super excited for this. It actually came through on the weekend, which was really nice. So I was able to grab photographs of this locomotive traveling through. And this is just north of Hamilton, Ohio. Um, and I waited there for at least an hour or two. I was by myself. I was like, all right, well, I'll listen to the scanner. I kept checking my social media to see if there was any updates on its location. There was quite a few rail fans out there, trying to get photos of this and video because it was freshly painted and it looks brand new, as you can see there. Um, so there's a lot of activity. I tried to chase this locomotive further as it was heading further northwest, but unfortunately, I ran out of road where I was running parallel to it, and I basically gave up. But I was happy to get this photo. It came out really well. I was just excited to be able to see the Virginian. I haven't captured too many heritage units here, just because a lot of them go through when I'm working or overnight, or it just timing doesn't work out. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some more of those, come spring and summer, and maybe over the winter if I'm venturing out there if it's not too cold. But yeah, what a beautiful photo of it. I was so thrilled, and I staked out this spot. I was the only one there. Lighting was great. The sky looks beautiful, and I was just excited to be able to get in. Of course, it was leading an intermodal train. So if you like this, let me know in the comments or in the chat. I can do these shows occasionally where I kind of, show off some of the photos I've taken and talk about a little bit of the location where I've taken the photos. If I have any quirky stories about where I've taken them. Tonight's slide deck, as you can tell, it's the yellow and black and white, kind of capturing, a tribute to that Virginian Railways color scheme, particularly the black and the yellow. But yeah, I mean, it was really exciting to be able to travel to, of course, Pennsylvania quite a few times. I mean, I've gotten a lot of Pennsylvania, uh, a lot of heritage units in Pennsylvania, I should say. just because of the frequency and the line, how busy it is. I've seen a lot of heritage units on the rail cams, but it's so cool to be able to see them in person. I was super excited to be able to get that, the Virginian, and of course, I was really excited to be able to get it when it was freshly painted. Well, good evening, everybody. If if you didn't catch, when I did my opening of the show, thank you so much, as always, joining the show all the time. We do have a scanner class coming up, which will be hosted by Train Aficionado and the Cincinnati Railroad Club, which is going to be next month on the 19th. So sign up. You can do that through the website, trainaficionado.com /events. And we are looking forward to having a class where it's in person and virtual. This is going to be the first time that I'm doing an in person and virtual. So you'll be joined together with people in the room and also you being there, which is going to be a lot of fun. We only have so many virtual seats, so if you're interested in attending this class virtually and for 100% you're going to be able to join, sign up, and then you'll have a spot. This class is free. You don't even have to be a member of the Cincinnati Railroad Club to be able to do this. And this is going to be really cool. And this is the first time I'm doing a night class. Typically, they've been on Saturday mornings. I've gotten a lot of feedback from many of the club members saying, "Can you run this at night?" And I said, "All right, well, I'll pick a day and see if it works. If we got a full classroom in person, maybe I'll do this again in person. If we have a full classroom virtually, we may be doing another virtual class, and you'll have be able to see a slide deck where I'll talk about rail fanning with a scanner, the benefits of it, tips and tricks of using the scanner, and also even suggestions for radios to consider and so on. So I'm going to take the curriculum that we used last year and refresh it. Of course, we're going to be talking about the newer Uniden radios as well. That should be hopefully coming out soon. The Uniden Bearcat BCD 160DN and 260DN. And of course, we're going to be talking about the 125AT because it's still, the choice radio for rail fans as well. We'll talk about antennas. We'll talk about, how does railroad communication work, what you're able to hear, what you're not able to hear. It will be a fun class. It'll be a little over 2 hours. When I ran the classes, typically it was about 2 hours and a half. That allows, for the slide deck, doing a deep dive, and then, of course, answering questions either along the way or at the end of the presentation. So, really looking forward to it. I'll show a slide, mentioning that as well. Next week will be the last show of 2023, which will be a Scanner Guys show. I'm going to be working on that presentation over the long holiday weekend. So I'll be excited to be able to sit down and do that. Not sure what the topic will be, but we'll announce that soon. And then I'm already trying to work on this holiday weekend. I'm actually off Friday through Tuesday, and I'm going to spend a lot of time, preparing for next year and kind of get some shows hopefully posted and ready to go so you guys know what's coming up down the pipeline. That's my goal. Hopefully I'll be able to do that so you'll be able to see some really cool new shows for 2024. As always, I can't say it enough, post your, show ideas in the comments. We'll try to do those if possible. We're always looking for guests on the show as well. I need to email Danny Harmon and get him on for a 2024 show and talk to him. I mean, those are great shows where we really don't even have a slide deck. We kind of start a conversation and see where it goes. And that's a great thing about talking to Danny, and we're hoping to get other people like Danny on the show in 2024. Let me do a couple of slides and then we'll return back and then we'll answer any of your rail fanning questions. and then we'll wrap it up for this evening. So let me just run a couple of slides past you. So tonight's presentation of photography of our railroads, past, in the present, and we focused on heritage units. And a lot of those, of course, were Norfolk Southern Heritage Units. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a class that's coming up. The great thing about it, it's in person and virtual at the same time. It'll be Friday, January the 19th of 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Will be when it starts. And you can sign up at trainaficionado.com/events. Welcome back to school, Rail Fanning Scanning 101 2024. It's night school edition. So we'll start right at 7 o'clock, and then we'll probably wrap it up right around 9 or 9:30, and we'll cover a lot. And of course, we'll talk about the 125 AT as you see photographed there, and we'll talk about the newer radios as well. We'll have a slide deck and, of course, Q&A throughout the night. So we're really looking forward to it. So it should be a fun class. We hope to have a lot of people in person. And, of course, we would love to be able to fit the limited, and keep this in mind, limited space that we'll have available for the in-person, the virtual audience, I should say. So definitely sign up. Make sure that you sign up and that you're able to do it, because you don't want to take up a spot and then somebody else could have been in that spot if you're not able to do it. So of course, sign up trainaficionado.com/events. Be a part of either the virtual, or if you're in the Cincinnati, Ohio area, be a part of the in-class audience. We would love that as well. Able to watch right now. There's a whole bunch of videos on the Train Aficionado YouTube channel, so I would strongly recommend checking out the channel if you're don't have anything to do, a couple days this weekend. Binge watch some shows. We got some really good stuff on there. We got a video for rail fanning for beginners on there. We've got some really cool videos that are produced. Hope to be uploading more produced videos next year. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Train Aficionado. And I can't say it enough. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the channel as well. Give us a thumbs up. And if you're watching this after the live broadcast, certainly post something in the comments. But we would love to be able to bring you some more videos next year. And of course, you know, help us out by shopping our store, which is right at our website, which is also our blog, trainaficionado.com. You can go to the store. You can buy a hat, t-shirt. We've got all types of cool stuff, hoodies, jackets, you name it. Go to the website, go to the store, purchase a hat or something. It'll help us to upgrade equipment or allow us to be able to do some traveling for some rail fanning. I mean, it does take a lot to be able to do these shows. We've invested in well, I've invested into a lot of various things over the years, equipment wise, and this basically helps to fund both the Scanner Guys and Train Aficionado shows. So definitely check out the store as well. As always, check out trainaficionado.com. We just posted a brand new blog post, which one of my good friends of mine, Jim from the club, recently wrote and said, go ahead and post it. So you can read Jim's his blog entry right on trainaficionado.com. And there's a whole bunch of blog entries on there as well, featuring anything from history to reviews of scanners, antennas. It's a wide array of things. Also on the website, we have some ultimate rail fanning guides. We do have one for the Cincinnati, Ohio area. We have one for the for the main line, Norfolk Southern main line, running from Charlotte up to Linwood, with some suggested rail fanning spots there. And then, of course, my favorite and ultimate rail fanning guide for Altoona, Pennsylvania. Basically, rail fanning, that I can't remember how many miles of track, But rail fanning that line, there's several different spots, some of which are popular and known, and then there's a few that are on the guide that are locations that people don't even think of. So if you're planning on making a trip to Altoona, Pennsylvania, or to Cincinnati, or to Charlotte, North Carolina, check out the Ultimate Rail Fanning guides on the website. And of course, check out, the various blog entries, because, I've spent a lot of time in all three of these locations, and there is blog entries that are associated with various rail fanning spots. So far, Union Pacific 1943 mentioned maybe you'll catch some CSX heritage units. So far, I haven't got any of their. I've gotten their, a few of their painted schemes for the military and the law enforcement, but I haven't got any of their, their actual heritage units, paying tribute to the railroad lines they've taken over. So far, I have a zero, a goose egg. I haven't been rail fanning a lot lately. I've been working a lot of hours and then dealing with some stuff that's been going on in my own personal life, so I haven't been out trackside as much as I need to. And then now it's so cold out. The winter is pretty much here in the Ohio area, so it's rare that we get a nice warm day. It's pretty chilly, so me sitting out, trackside outside is probably not going to happen. It's more likely I'm going to be sitting in the truck. Let's take a look at some of the other questions here. Let's go rail fanning next week. Maybe a train aficionado or scanner guys year in review. Not a whole bunch of major things have happened, you know, this year on the shows. I mean, some things happened, with, of course, the Virginia Railways locomotive being repainted. The scanner guys, we did a big announcement for the actually scanner guys and train aficionado did the announcement regarding the new Uniden radios, which will benefit rail fans. Uh, Dale mentioning, a return of an Amtrak line, which is awesome. I see all the Merry Christmas wishes from all of you guys. Greatly appreciate it. But yeah, so some good stuff. Thank you so much to everyone that's joining us during these live shows. We greatly appreciate it. We hope that you're having a great night, and keep warm out there if you are rail fanning. If there's not any other questions, we'll wrap it up for this evening. I'll catch you again next week for the scanner guys, and then we'll start 2024 with a brand new season of Train Aficionado and the scanner guys. Um, I was looking at it; it's like 48 shows I have to put together and produce. Of course, there's a couple of months where there is 5 Wednesdays in a couple of months. So I end up taking that fifth Wednesday of the month off if there's a fifth Wednesday. Kind of gives me a break to kind of regenerate and maybe, go do something on a Wednesday night that I'm not able to do because I'm usually sitting here for at least an hour or so. But thank you so much for everybody, the comments. I'm gonna probably do another one of these shows where I kind of share, some of my photos and maybe provide some backstory. Um, Love doing that. I plan on doing more events with the Cincinnati Railroad Club. Of course, some classes. So if you're able to come out to the club, definitely do that. This will be a beta test of the virtual, tying in the virtual with the live class to see how it works. If it works really well, you guys can, certainly grab seats as these are available and join the class, and it'll become a worldwide audience, inside the Cincinnati Railroad Club, for the classes. So I plan on doing some classes there. And then in the spring, we're going to do some rail fanning trackside gatherings where we'll rail fan at some of the popular locations in the Cincinnati area. Really looking forward to that because it's a great way to be able to, one, hang out with people with the same interest and just being able to mingle with people and learn things that that they love and enjoy. So I wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. If you do miss the next show, I hope that you have a great New Year's, and we will be here, as far as I know, for 2024. So looking forward to it. Of course, watch the videos, support, the channels by either shopping the stores, Train Aficionado's store, or the Scanner Guys store. And of course, when you're watching the Scanner Guys videos and some of the Train Aficionado videos, if we're talking about anything scanner related on Train Aficionado, there will be an affiliate link to Scanner Master. Use that affiliate link. It helps to benefit us with a small percentage of the proceeds that go to us to be able to, use the streaming software that we're using today or any other equipment that we need. So we greatly appreciate it. All right, I'm going to wrap it up for this evening. Thank you again for watching. Be safe. If you're out there rail fanning, dress appropriately, and be safe out there. And have a great Christmas. If you know anyone that's spending their time by themselves for the holidays, it can be a difficult time. Check in on them. Just make sure they're doing okay. Drop them a text or an email, or a phone call would be nice as well. Certainly check in on them and make sure they're doing okay. I mean, typically this time of the year is, for some people, is not the best time of the year for some. So definitely check in with those friends, neighbors, loved ones, just to make sure they're doing okay. For now, I'm Jonathan Higgins from our Cincinnati studios. Have a great night. We'll catch you again on the Train Aficionado show, and of course the Scanner Guys show coming up next week.